If these conversations are awakening something in you and you're ready to create a fulfilled life, I'd love to invite you to join me live for my free 3-day Create Your Fulfilled Life Masterclass. Click the link below this video to sign up. Welcome to the Fulfilled Life Summit, where we explore one powerful question: what does it truly mean to live a fulfilled life? And how can we create more fulfilled lives, lives we truly love? This summit brings together a curated group of global experts to help you release stress, self-doubt, and the invisible barriers that keep you stuck, and help you to step into a life of happiness, wealth, and freedom, a life you truly love, a fulfilled life. I'm your host, Nicole Musker, joining you from Namibia, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Arielle Ford this evening. Arielle Ford is a love alchemist, best-selling author, and passionate guide for women ready to find love, keep love, and be love. A long-time student of love, she's led transformative workshops at Esalen Omega, the Chopra Center, and beyond. With 11 best-selling books, including The Soulmate Secret, Wabi Sabi Love, and Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, Arielle shares the secrets to deep, lasting love. Her debut novel, The Love Thief, is a mesmerizing spiritual romance thriller set in India, now optioned by MGM for a series, and they describe it as the Eat, Pray, Love meets Dirty John. Having read it myself, I can definitely attest to that and say it's a must read. So Arielle, welcome. It is an honor to have you here this evening.
Oh, thanks, Nicole. It's great to meet you.
So Arielle, today I'd love to explore relationships and love within the context of a fulfilled life, because for so many people, this is such a central part of feeling truly happy, connected, and whole. But before we sort of jump into that, I would love to know, like personally, what does a fulfilled life mean to you, and how might that have changed over the years?
It has changed a lot over the years. So today, for me, a fulfilled life is, I just took a screenshot of something that just sums it up really well. Let me see if I found it. Okay. So today's definition is the highest form of peace is having no desire to be seen, validated, or understood by anyone.
Wow.
Now that's where I'm at today. And that supposedly Buddha said that. And I was like, oh yes, this is it. But if you had asked me that in my 20s or 30s or 40s, for me, happiness was all about acquisition, the right career, the right home, the right car, the right boyfriend. It was all about going out and making stuff happen and being very willful from an ego perspective, and, I was a true type A. Go, 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 do. And, defining myself by the fact that at one point in my life, I was making 100 phone calls a day to make stuff happen. Just craziness.
Wow.
And, I outgrew that. Literally, I've outgrown that. And at this point in my life, I have no ambition, no bucket list, no vision board, no wish list. And I've progressed into a state that in Sanskrit, the word for it is santosha. And santosha literally means utter contentment. Because where I think I got screwed up around happiness is that I needed to learn that if you're happy because of the things that you've acquired, or the people in your life, or the experiences that you have, then when all of that disappears, you're left with unhappiness. So I didn't want a life based on people, places, things, circumstances to determine how I'm going to wake up in the morning. And when I learned about santosha, being utterly content, I thought, that's it. That's what I want to go for. So regardless of what's happening, because there's no avoiding the pain in life and the suffering, we're going to people are going to die. Pets are going to die. We're going to get sick. Businesses are going to fail. Fires are going to happen. Nobody gets out of that, and so how do you be with that? And for me, it was like really understanding that what goes up must come down. Right. And if I'm celebrating because things are so up, I'm also thinking about when's the other shoe gonna drop. And that's in this constant state of worry and what's the word for it? Not being able to be with uncertainty. I think to a degree I'm still a control freak, but not so much anymore. Like I want things the way I want them, when I want them, how I want them. But I've soon learned that I'm very good at manifesting. I can make that happen, but it doesn't necessarily bring me joy. And when I let go, when I totally surrender to my destiny and I receive what is coming to me, that's where the magic is. Because the biggest, greatest, most amazing stuff that's ever happened to me, I did not consciously manifest because my imagination was never big enough to have imagined the greatness of what came when I just surrendered.
Amazing. And I love the way you link that to contentment, because everyone thinks you need to live in this state of pure bliss all the time, that it's some kind of utopia, but actually there's contentment in the ups and the downs as well. So
yeah,
beautiful. So how do you see love and relationships fitting into the picture of a fulfilled life?
Well, let's first define what love is, okay? and I forget, I don't know if it's Sanskrit or Persian, but one of those languages has 96 words for love.
Wow.
All right. Greek at least has 7 words for love. English has 1, right? And everybody's got a different definition of what it is. So a lot of times when you talk about love, people automatically go to romantic love. So for them, love is a feeling. And when you're in the state of being in love, that is literally your brain on drugs. Your brain is cascading oxytocin and all kinds of things I can't even pronounce, and adrenaline and serotonin and dopamine. I mean, it's your brain on drugs, and it's a great feeling, but it doesn't last, and it's not love. Because when you're in that state of being in love, you're doing with a stranger. You know nothing about who they are, what their values are, if you're compatible, if you have good communication, if they'll take a bullet for you, if they're the person you want in charge of yourself when, you're deeply ill. Like, you don't know any of that. And yet, he's the one, she's the one. I just know it. Okay, so
we've all been there.
that is not love. Okay. So for me, I believe that love is first and foremost a behavior. It's a state of being. It is a decision. It's a choice. It's an action. And it's conscious. And anybody who's been together with someone they consider a life partner, soulmate, knows that you could be wildly in love with your partner, and there will be days when you hate them. And it doesn't mean that you don't love them. So it's really important to understand that if we're talking about selecting a life partner, that you train yourself to not go for the feelings first. It's like when people are swiping on the apps. Oh, he's cute. Oh, she's cute. Oh, I really feel something. Oh, we had a coffee date. I really felt the magic. For most people, I would say, if you're having butterflies in your stomach and you're having this really intense chemical reaction, that's a red flag. That's the time to run. Now, that's not always true for men. Men, in terms of love at first sight, do a much better job than women.
Interesting.
Women, on the other hand, don't really fall in love with their eyes. They fall in love in between their ears. So I have polled all my friends that are in long-term soulmate marriages. None of them, none of the women, it was not love at first sight. And for most of them, there wasn't even a level of attraction until the 5th date.
Wow.
So if you're out there all about the feelings, and women who are romantics are, it's not a surprise that things aren't working out because you're looking for the wrong things. You know, they've pretty much made a science out of what it takes to have a long, happy, satisfying, healthy, content marriage. And what it is a shared vision for the future, trust, respect, communication, compatibility, and some chemistry. But likely it won't be the hottest chemistry you've ever had in your life. But attraction, but not like, oh my God. Because if attraction and hot chemistry were the thing, then you'll have to explain to me why every couple who teaches Tantra has been divorced a couple of times, to other people. The Tantra teachers who are supposedly having the greatest sex in the world are the worst at relationships.
Interesting. And I guess as time ages, that also changes a lot, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, the truth is the chemistry is God's trick, nature's trick to get us humans to procreate. And so that state will last anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, and then it really starts to fall off. And then once you hit your 40s and yours and his hormones are dropping, that happens, which is why people make date nights and they have planned sex, because when you have two people working jobs with little kids and aging parents and all the stress of how expensive and insane life is, there just isn't time or energy to do that. John Gray, are you familiar with John Gray? He wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. John Gray is hysterical when he talks about this stuff. He said there's different kinds of sex. He said, so there's gourmet sex, and that's like the best of lovemaking, and you've planned it out, and there's flowers and romance.
Gourmet sex. Movies.
Right. And when you travel, when you leave home and the kids aren't with you, gourmet sex, which is nice. He said, but for most people, it's really okay to have fast food sex. If one of you wants it and the other doesn't, like let's say you're the woman and you don't really want to, but your husband does. John Gray would say, yes, just indulge him. Let it be a stress reliever for him. Know that you care about his well-being and happiness enough that, and the chances are if you get into it for a few minutes, things might turn around and you might be glad that you did it. So gourmet sex, fast food sex, but that's just the reality. And then, if you're really with someone has the capacity to be a good life partner, then what happens is that there's actually something better than sex that gets developed, which is this really deep, intimate, connected love and caring for each other, where, sometimes a 20-second hug is all you really need. You don't have to be counting the days. Oh, we haven't had sex in 9 days. What's wrong? It doesn't mean anything's wrong. As long as you're feeling loved, cherished, cared for, there's a level of devotion, you can get to this deeper, more meaningful level.
I mean, and that sounds incredible. I mean, I think we'd all love that kind of fulfilling love and relationship. What do you see as being the big blockers that people experience in allowing them to open up to these kinds of fulfilling relationships or being in a fulfilling relationship?
I don't think there's one in particular. I think according to Harville Hendrix, we're constantly recreating the relationship we had with our earliest caregivers, right? So if you had abusive parents or neglectful parents or addictive parents and you weren't being nurtured, the picker part of your brain that chooses somebody is going to pick somebody out for you that's going to make you feel comfortable, which is all this bad behavior. This is why having a good dating coach or a therapist is really critical to the process if you're having problems, bringing in your ideal life partner. I mean, for me, I was not ready until I was 44 years old. I just wasn't ready. I had lots of men in my life, but wasn't ready. I was much more interested in my career, much more focused on my career. And, so women often have these time frames. Oh, well, I want to meet somebody between 28 and 30 and have my first baby at 32 and my next one 18 months later. And they've got this plan going. And sometimes that's just not the best plan for you. Right? You got allow a little surprises in there. So I think letting go of the timeline, which is what my book, The Love Thief is really all about, is, here we have this 38-year-old woman who is just panicked. She hasn't met anybody yet. She knows that she's, her eggs have expiration dates. She can't figure out what to do. And she makes a really bad choice. And it just about physically kills her. And it has a happy ending. I'll just leave it at that.
And it's a great read.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that you are speaking a lot about at the moment is about being love. And I'd love us to talk a little bit about what that really means and how do
I was thinking about that yesterday because I've been writing a lot about it, but I thought I should write out a definition of it. So I haven't memorized it yet, but here's what I've got so far. It says, to be love is to choose in every moment to embody the qualities of love: kindness, presence, compassion, honesty, regardless of what's happening around you. It's not something you wait to feel. It's something you practice, especially when it's hardest, until love becomes who you are rather than something you seek.
Beautiful.
So just like if you wanted to run a 10K, you wouldn't just walk out the door and run a 10K. First, you'd go buy some good sneakers, and then you might go for a long walk. And the next day you might walk 10 steps and run 10 steps, right? It's a training. So you need to start training yourself to ask yourself, what would love do now? How could I be being loved now? As opposed to, somebody says something and you automatically contract and you want to make them wrong and you get all judgy about it, which is kind of a normal reaction, But then you just really need to ask yourself, maybe I should ask a clarifying question here. You could say, oh, I just heard you say X, Y, Z. Is that what you meant?
No.
And chances are you didn't even get what they were meaning.
No.
Especially if you're texting. By the way, if you're dating, texting, worst thing you could possibly be doing. The worst. Texting when you're dating early on, the only purpose is, I'm running 5 minutes late. Just looking for parking. I'm almost there. That's it. But to have these long, in-depth, hours-long texts with a stranger, totally stupid.
Yeah, I mean, you don't actually know what someone's trying to say when you read a text, even in email, you can.
And you don't know them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They just like, oh, cute picture. I can see he's got a dog. And you don't even know if that's their real picture. That's why I tell everybody, if there's somebody you have the slightest bit interest in connecting with, do a video chat. That's the first thing you do. You just say, listen, let's set up 15 minutes to get on FaceTime or Zoom or however you want to do it and just talk, because then you can hear them. You
Mm.
can see, do they really look like their picture? You can see what's behind them. Are they a hoarder? Or do they have a nice clean space? Do they have a cat walking past? And at the end of 15 minutes, even if it's going great, you just say, wow, this was really great. I can't believe 15 minutes went so fast. I've got to run right now, but should we do this again? That's it,
Mm.
because you don't want to get into spending all this time. So you might do a second video chat with them. And then if you want to meet them in the real world, go for a walk. Don't go to lunch. Don't go to dinner. Don't go to Starbucks. Go for a walk. Then there's no money involved. The whole money thing, we could do 2 hours about the whole weird money thing. Go meet them for a walk, and just take it slow. There's no rush. They're just, you don't want to show up on the walk knowing you're ovulating and you're 38 years old.
I love that advice. It also gets out of that, now we're going on a date. Someone's got to phone me just secretly in case it's not going well. You actually get a
You
chance.
don't have to do any of that. Just let somebody know where you're going.
Yeah.
I just have a friend, take a picture of yourself of what you're wearing. Send it to your best friend. Okay, I'm going to meet John or George or Paul or Ringo or whoever it is at Hampstead Heath, and we're going to meet at the fountain, and we're going to go for a walk for an hour, And if you don't hear from me, call the police, right?
Not for me. Well, I mean, to that, do you think that sometimes people are looking for fulfillment from a relationship rather than creating
Absolutely.
that fulfillment internally? Like, how do you see that dynamic working?
Yeah, I think that happens all the time. It's the if only. If only I had someone to share my life with.
Mm.
So let's think about, okay, if only, well, what would you be doing? Oh, well, I'd be, traveling, or I'd be hiking, or I'd be doing this or that. Do all these things now. I had this one client years ago, this guy, I don't even remember his name, but I remember every time we did a session, he was telling me about what his honeymoon was going to be like. And he was like, he said, we're going to go off the coast of Seattle to these islands. I forget what the islands are called. And we're going to kayak where the whales are. And I can see it. It's a sunny day and the sun's sparkling on the water and there's whales breaching and we're in a 2-person kayak. And I finally said to him, I want you to call your travel agent right now and book this trip for yourself. You go and do this right now. And he did. And who was in the kayak next to him? The woman he eventually married.
Oh, wow, that's a beautiful story. That is really,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. So, make yourself happy now. Figure that out. It doesn't mean that you give up on the desire or the dream, but why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? And then when they do show up, it could be that, there's some issue that they can't do this big travel dream with you. But just let them know you're going to do it with your friends, right? And people change as they get older. Like my husband and I did tons of traveling the first 25 years. And then he woke up one day and he said, I'm done traveling. And I was like, but I'm not. He's like, well, call, I have a lot of girlfriends, so like to call one of your friends. So that's what I do now. He doesn't want to travel. I've got a list of friends, and I went to India for 3 weeks last year with my friend Barbara. We talked to Brian every day, and he's like, he was so happy. I was having so much fun, and then I went to Italy the year before with another friend. So make yourself happy. It makes you much more attractive.
I think that's amazing advice. And I mean, with that, I think what we're talking a little bit about as well is that self-doubt and that inner critic that often keeps people stuck, right? And if you're trying to make yourself happy,
This is
then you
why
keep putting
there are
yourself down.
therapists,
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you have to learn how to turn the volume down on that,
Mm.
and only you can do that with the help of a talented professional. But everybody has insecurities. I saw Oprah do an interview once, And somebody asked her a question like that. And she said, you know that I've interviewed everybody, kings and queens and rock stars and presidents and, everybody in the world. And she said, at the end of every single interview I've ever done, every single person said the same thing to me. It's like, well, what was that, Oprah? And they say to me, was that okay? Even Paul McCartney said to me, was that okay? Because we're all insecure human beings.
Mm.
It's kind of a normal thing, but are you going to let it run your life?
Mm. And if that inner critic does come up in your head, I mean, how do you have a practical sort of tip or advice to people about how they can
Well, if it happens
slow it
when you're
down?
on a date, I would out myself. So if I was with somebody and they were telling me like about all these, you know, grandiose things they'd done, and I would have to say, I may look like the most secure, confident person on the planet, and I've had a lot of success in my life. And at this moment in time, I'm feeling really insecure and insignificant. So if we're ever going to have a second date, you need to know that, there's a part of me that is vulnerable and needs acknowledgement and needs a hug every once in a while. Are you up for that? That's all.
Yeah.
The worst they could say is, no. Okay, great. And better you find out on the first date that, they can't tune into you or they can't even acknowledge that they've dominated the conversation.
Mm. Or be authentic and admit that they might also be feeling a little bit
Yeah. I
uncertain
mean,
at the time.
and by the same token, I would want to know, given what I know about people in the world, um, I want to know what their mental health history is.
Mm.
Like I had in my 20s, I was very depressive, and at times even suicidal. And I went to therapy and I was on drugs for it for a while. And then I sort of made myself a guinea pig to study what's underneath it. And there was a family history I didn't even know about. So I don't experience that at all anymore, but I really worked on it, just like I'd want to know what, not that I would make anybody wrong for having health challenges, but it's better off to know. Like I had this one boyfriend who used to disappear on me and I didn't understand it. And what I later found out was he has, what's it, the thing called IBS? And
Oh, yes, irritable bowel syndrome.
yeah, nobody knew about it back then because there wasn't commercials for drugs every 30 seconds on it.
Yeah.
But he had these painful episodes. But rather than tell me, well, I haven't called you for 2 hours because I'm in the bathroom having stomach issues, because he was just too macho to admit all that, he would disappear, So I just think you're just being authentic and
Yeah.
vulnerable. This is who I am. This is what I'm working on, you know. Why not? They're going to find out anyway. So better you tell them.
And better earlier than later, rather than getting stuck in it
Exactly.
for a few years
Yeah.
and finding out later. So, I mean, you've obviously guided a lot of people through life in experiencing more love and fulfillment in their lives. What are some sort of simple practices or transformative ways that you could get people to experiencing more of that love in their lives?
I think practicing it is one thing you would definitely want to do, but then also become a student of love and a student of mating and dating. There's a lot of good teachers out there. There's a lot of good books. There's a lot of free videos. And you don't have to do everything that you hear. But like on my YouTube channel, I have all these free videos. And one of them, what's the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, there's a couple of like hour-long videos. Oh, it's called Masterclass of Love. Spend an hour watching my Masterclass of Love. All my best tips are definitely on there. And I would say the other thing is really give people a break. If let's say you're with somebody and they're talking and they say something and you get the ick thing, which I hear is a new term. I didn't grow up with the ick thing, where suddenly they're judging them and there's ooh, you know? That's the time you just ask them a question. Oh, um, you know, do you mean XYZ? Like, really ask them, like, try to understand what you're saying. And it's like, no, that's not what I meant at all. Or if they say something you find a little insulting, you could just say, oh, that's really a sore spot for me. You know, probably not a good idea to talk about that, or whatever. So I would be kinder to people. And my friend Carol Allen, who's a Vedic astrologer and a dating expert, she has the funniest line of all. She says, if you go out on a first date and you didn't get totally grossed out, go out on the second date. She said, but most men are very nervous and insecure on a first date and aren't really behaving like themselves. So if you're not thoroughly grossed out, give them a second chance.
Oh, I love that one. Ariel, I mean, to make it very practical for someone today, could you possibly guide us through a little practice to help raise your love frequency? Do you?
Sure. Yeah. So here's what you do. And we can do it together right now. All right. It'll only take a minute. So I want everybody to close their eyes. And I want you to think about 3 people in your life that you love, that you know love you. It could be parents, siblings, best friends, coworkers, your cat, your dog, but come up with 3 souls that you love and you know they love you. Now, I want you to take a couple of deep breaths. Let's go. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, I want you to move your attention from your head to the area around your heart. Just gently focus your attention on the area around your heart. And then think about one of those 3 people or pets that you love, that you know loves you. And see if you can literally see their face inside of your own heart. And begin to feel what it feels like for you to love them and to know and understand that they also love you. And as you're using your imagination to see them and feel them, imagine that your heart is blowing them a big pink kiss. And in this big pink kiss is the message, I love you. And I'm so happy you're in my life. So just take a second now to do that. Through your heart, send this person that you love so much a big pink kiss of love and appreciation. Now take a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, with your imagination, pick another person that you love, that you know loves you. See their face inside your heart. And on an exhale, send them a big pink kiss filled with your love. Now take another long, slow, deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And send one more person that you love a big pink kiss through your heart with the message, I love you so much. When you're ready, bring your attention back up into your head. Shake out your hands. Slowly open your eyes. So that's the love frequency process. And I start every morning with this, but I do a lot more than 3 people. I would first start with a list of 10, the 10 people that you know the most. But my list keeps getting longer and longer because not only do I send them love, I also send them a strong intention to be healthy and prosperous and content and safe, along with all the love I can send them. And if somebody's ill, then I'll send them some specific, intention for a certain kind of healing or a miracle even. So when you start your day that way, when you're filling up your own love tank and then sending it out to the world with this process is based on a HeartMath Institute technique called, what do they call it? I can't think of the exact name for it, but I have their permission to use their techniques. When you're doing this, it's called a heart lock-in. When you're doing this, your heart goes into heart coherence, and then your love magnetic field extends 25 feet or more outside of you. And this is measurable. This is science-based information that's been in research for 40 years. So you're filling up yourself, you're getting into heart coherence, and then you're sharing your love with your loved ones. And that's how you be love.
I love that. I'm going to be adding that to my morning routine as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. So for anyone listening who would love to explore your work more deeply, where can they find you and what are the best ways for them to stay connected with you?
Well, I'm my website, myname.com, arielford.com, and there's a tab on there called Free Stuff. So there's lots of stuff there. My YouTube channel, which if you can put it in the show notes or whatever, takes you right there. There's a lot of videos on there. Start with the masterclass on love. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook. So I'm pretty easy to find. I'm not really doing a lot of speaking or coaching anymore. At this point, I really just want to have as much fun as possible and, continue to live in a mostly fulfilled state of Santosha.
I love that. Have as much fun as possible.
Yeah.
So what is one final message that you'd like to leave with someone who may be longing for more love, connection, and fulfillment in their life right now?
Well, the first thing they need to know is there's no shortage of love in the world. Okay. And there is no one single soulmate that's going to, make your life fulfilled. And according to John Gray, there's at least 250,000 potential soulmates for every person on the planet. I have no idea where he got that number from.
But it
There's
helps.
no shortage. And the other thing I'd like him to know is that if you were with somebody that you considered your soulmate and you broke up or got divorced or they died, all that means is that that relationship had an expiration date. It doesn't mean that they weren't what you thought they were, but now there's somebody else just waiting for you to welcome them in when you're ready and open to it.
I love that. Thank you very much, Ariel. Thank you for your time and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I hope that everyone joined today, that this conversation has given you fresh insights in what it truly means to live a fulfilled life and to have love and relationship within that fulfilled life, and has offered you practical wisdom as to how to find more love and fulfillment in your life right away. Our intention for the summit is not only to inspire you, but also to support you in creating greater happiness, wealth, and freedom in your life, a life that you truly love. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to having you again with us for the next conversation.